former mogul, Sean Diddy Combs, rejecting a final offer for a plea deal.
Diddy just rejected the very deal that could have kept him out of a federal prison cell. But why would a man with an empire of music, media, and fashion gamble everything on a public trial when 12 strangers are about to decide his fate? On today's Diddy News Update, you'll discover the hidden stakes behind that plea deal gamble, the reasons he said no, and the explosive evidence prosecutors are about to unveil. Now, if you can recall, back in September, the feds dropped a bomb. Indictments for racketeering, sex trafficking, and transporting people across state lines for prostitution. But behind the scenes, prosecutors apparently offered him a way out. A plea deal, one charge, a decade or so behind bars, no jury, no cameras, no courtroom drama, just paperwork and prison time. But Diddy's team shut it down, called it a setup, said the evidence was weak, and told the feds to bring it to trial. But the real reason he rejected the plea deal? It was that notebook prosecutors found behind closed doors. Yeah, an actual notebook, seized during the raid at his house. We're talking leather-bound, locked in a private safe at Diddy's Los Angeles mansion. And this ain't just some throwaway plan or a tour schedule. According to multiple federal sources, it's filled with names that line up with known industry figures, handwritten notes, initials, dollar amounts, calendar blocks, and some coded language that investigators believe outlines a complex network of illicit activity. Payments tied to party dates, notes referencing transport times, and symbols prosecutors believe are code for everything from substances to security measures. Feds are calling it a blueprint, a manual for how these now infamous private gatherings were orchestrated, from recruitment to execution. Some of the terms in the notebook allegedly match what witnesses have described in sealed testimony, phrases like room service, closed set, and no cameras, which prosecutors claim are euphemisms for activities way beyond anything legal. There are even initials in the margins next to transaction amounts, raising questions about whether other high-profile individuals could be implicated. Now, Diddy's legal team, they're brushing it off, saying it's nothing more than a personal ledger. Notes from events, scheduling reminders, expense tracking, basic logistics for someone running a media empire. They argue the notebook has no context, no clear connection to anything criminal, and that the feds are trying to spin innocent scribbles into a conspiracy. But that's not how prosecutors see it. They believe the notebook isn't just evidence, it's the connective tissue. The item that links testimonies, electronic records, surveillance footage, and digital forensics into one cohesive story. And if they can get it admitted into evidence, it's a bombshell. Because once that notebook is opened in front of a jury, it's not just Diddy on trial anymore. The defense knows this. That's why they've already filed motions to block it, calling it prejudicial, inflammatory, and taken wildly out of context. But here's what nobody's saying out loud. That notebook might be the real reason he rejected the plea. Because if it's as detailed as insiders claim, Diddy could be holding leverage, not just fighting for his life, but sending a message. Like, if I go down, others go with me. It's a dangerous kind of insurance. The names in that ledger, the implications of what those codes mean, that's not just criminal exposure, it's political, financial, cultural. It blows the whole thing wide open. And by choosing a trial instead of a quiet deal, Diddy's forcing the government to show its hand. They have to reveal the full scope of their case. Every witness, every exhibit, every accusation. That means unsealing documents, making names public, and laying out a chain of evidence that could drag half the industry into the mud. It's like he's daring them to play their cards. Behind the scenes, though, there's panic, quiet calls being made, names redacted in early filings, rumors of sealed subpoenas hitting entertainment lawyers across LA and New York. Because if the government starts connecting those notebook entries to real people, artists, execs, handlers, promoters, then this becomes bigger than Diddy, way bigger. We're talking potential federal cases across multiple states, RICO territory. And that's why this one notebook has become the most sensitive piece of evidence in the whole investigation. It's not just a journal, it's a possible map of the entire operation, who was involved, when it happened, and how it stayed hidden for years. If it sees the light of day in open court, that could trigger a domino effect nobody in the industry is ready for. And here's where things take a darker turn. You remember those freak-offs, right? Yeah, the ones that have been trending since Diddy's arrest. Prosecutors allege these weren't just wild parties. They say guests were drugged, coerced, even trafficked. Some victims claim they were blindfolded and brought in through hidden entrances, stripped of phones, filmed, and silenced with NDA payouts. and this trial is set to go way deeper, laying out how those parties were organized, secured, and allegedly weaponized to trap people in fear and silence. And before you think this is just another courtroom drama, you should know that the judge has denied Diddy bail 3 separate times. Why? Prosecutors argued that with his wealth and reach, Diddy posed a serious risk of witness tampering. The judge agreed, and that was the main reason he was locked up while his legal team preps for battle. Meanwhile, brands are backing away like it's radioactive. Endorsement deals have been paused. Revolt TV took down his content. Fashion labels and liquor brands? Silent. The industry's turning its back before a single verdict is read. But crazy enough, even with all the wild stuff being reported on every Diddy news headline, some fans are still riding for him, calling it a setup, a takedown by the elites. But others believe he's spiraling and finally paying the price for decades of secrecy. Some also think Diddy's got dirt on execs, and rejecting that plea was his way of saying, if I go down, you're all coming with me. Here comes the wild part. His chances at trial aren't great. Legal experts say pleading not guilty in the Southern District of New York is like jumping into shark-infested waters with no cage. The conviction rate? Over 90%. But Diddy's team might be playing the long game. Some say they're trying to force the feds to lay their cards down early, then use that to strike a better deal mid-trial. Others say he's gone too far, that once the jury sees certain pieces of evidence, it's game over. Now, there's one piece of evidence no one can ignore: a security camera video from a 2016 hotel hallway. In it, Diddy is seen punching, dragging, and kicking Cassie Ventura. That footage was sealed for years. His lawyers fought hard to keep it out, but the judge ruled it's coming in. And once that's shown to the jury, no amount of PR can clean that up. Diddy did issue a statement, called it shameful, and took full responsibility. But in court, that moment could become the trial's emotional climax. And it doesn't stop with Cassie. 2 other women, under court-approved pseudonyms, are testifying. One claims she was assaulted after a music event. Another, a former staffer, says she was forced to destroy surveillance footage and warn witnesses to stay silent. Alongside that, financial records, plane logs, burner phone data are all displayed. The prosecutors are working smart by building a web and placing Diddy right at the center. Over 60 civil cases are stacking up too. Some claim sexual assault, others allege harassment or digital blackmail, a few even involve minors. If those cases go forward, we're talking hundreds of millions in damages. Even if he beats the criminal charges, he could lose everything in civil court. And here's where things get bigger. Whispers are growing louder. Sources say grand juries in Atlanta and Chicago are eyeing connected cases with the same patterns at different cities. If that's true, this isn't just Diddy's trial. It's the first domino. Other execs, other artists, people who thought they were untouchable, they might be next. Under current federal charges alone, Diddy is looking at 10 years minimum. On the high end, life. Literally. And sure, he's got lawyers prepping appeals, citing overreach, trying to suppress evidence. But appeals take years, decades, and the feds are playing for keeps. This trial isn't just about one man. It's a window into how much darkness can hide behind the flash of fame. The velvet ropes, the red carpets, the platinum plaques. And even if half of this holds up, it's not just a career ending. It's a curtain being pulled back on an entire industry built on power, silence, and fear. And here's the thing, we're just getting started. Because behind this case, there's something else, something bigger. And if the prosecution opens that door, the whole house might come crashing down. So make sure to subscribe to this channel for more updates on Diddy news, because we'll be breaking it all down from the inside. And don't forget, hit the bell, drop a comment, and stay locked in. Monday is just the beginning.